you're facing Cloud9 and you have Goreki on that roster, it's almost hard to predict what it is that you're going to be facing in some scenarios. At least it is for me, but these players know each other quite well. What are you expecting to see out of Cloud9 in this finals going up against Method Black?
Well, I don't know. I think Method Black, the majority of the time, at least from, this is just what I think from playing the ladder. I mean, I see them playing and practicing Mage Moonkin Paladin, primarily Cloud9, known for their RMD. So I wouldn't be extremely surprised if we just saw the RMD versus the Mage Moonkin Paladin right out of the gates. But I don't know. Maybe RMD just destroys Mage Moonkin Paladin and they have to play something with Chanimals. I'm not exactly sure, but those are the comps that they're known for in the past.
All right, man. Here are the finals. It's also a best of 5, guys. Here we go. We're going to jump right into it. The first game, of course, is going to be played out on the Grand Arena.
What the?
All right, guys, welcome to the Grand Arena. As you can see, things happened. Cloud9 running that Warlock Elemental Shaman Restoration Druid running LSD. They ran this earlier on today, but Method Black, on the other hand, is running LSD2. What is going on? Is this Mr. Pandaria?
I think it's WAD. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
So LSD2 against LSD?
Yeah.
All right. This is, I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to assume we're going to see dampening. Elemental Shamans recently did get buffed quite a bit. Lavaverse getting buffed by a tremendous 20%. Moonkin's also getting buffed. I mean, we're going to see a lot of spread pressure coming up from both teams. Asper taking a little bit of early pressure. I think Floria's going to be able to easily heal through that damage, though, on that Restoration Shaman. We're just going to spell off all those dots. And we're just going to see these teams trading blow for blow and just trying to get as much damage as possible.
Welcome to LSD, man. I feel like we're going to have a lot of time to talk to each other in this one, man. Floria, though, is new to that Shaman. We could see, and he's playing a Panda. I mean, what? Floria on the Panda. I have to respect the Panda choice. It's a personal favorite of mine. A Paladins could be Panda, but Asper's just getting chunked down to 40% health here. Is going to catch a big Mastery heal from Floria, and they should be okay. And both of these guys are just going neck to neck. Goreki using that Dark Soul is just getting a whole bunch of damage out to the entire team of Method Black.
I mean, so far it seems like the Elemental Shaman version coming out from Cloud9 is putting out a lot more pressure early on. Cubsy actually sitting down for a drink and top off his mana. One thing to talk about the Panda, though, is it's kind of nice because they already have Cyclone DR, they have Fear, and Floria is the only one that really has that Polymorph DR with that Panda Incapacitate. So actually not incredibly wasteful, still having some CC when he needs it.
Yeah, I mean, and he looks super cool. There's that too.
Yeah, he looks super awesome. I agree.
The Floria may be on an ult, but they did get to use Chanimals for this composition as well, and Chanimals has been itching to play all day just to get in there and show them what they got, and he's here in the finals playing against LSD1, and so far, Businessman X's Lava Burst look so freaking strong, just really punishing these guys and just forcing them behind this pillar non-stop. I mean, look at Chanimals' health right now, just taking so much pressure, dipping down to 50% health here. Floria, though, should be A-okay, but they weren't lying when they told me they had some secret strats, man. This is unexpected. Bash goes out onto Businessman. He's taking a little bit of damage, but Cubsy is positioned quite well. Both teams should be okay. And I don't know. Who has the advantage here? It looks like Businessman is doing crazy damage.
Yeah, I don't know. Usually you can tell which... I mean, obviously right now we see Cloud9 in the middle of the map, just having complete control over the game. They're forcing Chanimals, Asper, and Floria behind a pillar, trying to capitalize on a little bit of damage. Cubsy pushing out a little bit, but it looks like he's going to be fine at the moment. Tossing out that Nature Vigil. He notices his team is getting a little bit low, so he's going to use that defensive cooldown. And Power's healing a little bit, Spreader is healing a little bit, and I'm sure he's going to be able to easily top off his team. I don't think we're going to see crazy amounts of pressure coming out from these teams until a little bit later in the dampening. Chanimals taking a little damage, gets blocked out. It's going to be about, especially in dampening, who uses their Demon Souls more efficiently coming out from the Warlocks, who gets interrupted more when trying to get out those UAs and Haunts. then I think it's going to be a battle of the Warlocks and shutting down the Warlocks as we go deeper and deeper into this game.
Oh, you know that's going to be a good battle indeed. Chanimals and Goreki were previous teammates going into regionals together, and now they're facing off against each other in GPL #1, both playing on that Warlock. Chanimals taking a whole bunch of pressure, dipping down to 30% health here as Goreki uses his... Oh my gosh, Chanimals actually dipped down to 14% health there. That was relatively scary for Chanimals. That's a couple lava bursts, and he would have went down. But yeah, dampening is starting in just another minute.
You know what's interesting is when I first saw this, I was like, man, these guys must be trolling or something. But I actually don't think they are. I think that Cloud9 running this LSD is actually very powerful, specifically against Asper, Feloria, and Majidin. If they ran that Mage, Moonkin, Paladin composition, I think that Cubsy, Businessman, and Pendeski would just boss all over them. I think they just have a lot of pressure. LSD's always been good against Wizard Cleese. Just has more overall pressure, especially with the Elemental Shaman buffs. And as you go deeper and deeper into dampening comp like LSD, which is what Cloud9's running, would have smashed Methods Black, Mage, Moonkin, Paladin, I think. So this is like maybe their only option that they have to play.
You know, Cloud9 earlier on in the day actually did play LSD1 earlier and did quite well with it, which is why they're here in the finals from the winner's bracket. And Method Black probably saw that, anticipated it, and that's why they changed up their composition. But here we go. Looks like we have a standoff between these two teams waiting for dampening to occur. And guys, make sure that you guys are giving whoever you want to win this match all your energy in chat, because
yeah, give them all your energy.
Give them all their energy, because it looks like they need it right now. They really do.
But stay focused, going and getting an energy drink or something like that, making sure.
Wait
when
for
the game.
it.
This is when the game starts. Our friend Dampening is here, though. Now these guys have no choice but to put out a lot of pressure. I suspect, I mean, once dampening gets around 15-20%, and that's one of the great things about the addition of dampening. I know a lot of people think it's weird, but in these kind of spread pressure compositions, you need it for the game to end. I think it's important. And actually, I think as we go further into this game, it'll actually start getting really, really exciting.
Yeah,
a lot of pressure back and forth.
I mean, going back down to Armageddon finals when it was like LSD versus MLS, that was like one of the most exciting games we've ever got to see. It was crazy, so I'm excited to see. And dampening does start a bit sooner here in Warlords of Draenor, so we are at 4% into dampening, 5% into dampening at this point. But I wonder, is this how MOBA casters feel in like the laning phase of a game? Like we're just, all right, here we go. We're waiting for the game to start getting intense here. But there's still probably some like little things that they could look for. But I guess we could look at their transmogs.
I'm curious why Panda Kazi only has one Dark Soul still.
He used one earlier. Oh, but it's been a long time, huh?
It's been quite a while, yeah. Maybe the UI's just bugged.
Maybe the UI's bugged.
One for you as well?
No, yeah, it says one for me too.
Interesting. But yeah, once these guys decide to wake up and start attacking each other, I think, like I was saying earlier, it's going to be very important for both these Warlocks to make sure they're capitalizing fully on their Demon Souls, getting a lot of pressure with those, making sure they're not getting locked out during their Demon Soul. I think that's a lot of what this match is going to come down to. Cubsy as well as Feloria going to have to look for early drinks, making sure they don't run because it's going to be very hard to heal through this damage.
Yeah, I mean, 11% dampening. These boys are convinced that each team has their advantage into dampening, but I'm unconvinced that I know which team is going to win this. This is the finals, though. This is the game one of the finals, so neither team is just going to give up a loss. They're both of them being very, very patient, getting as much of the advantage as they possibly think that they have. But Cloud9 looking super dominant in this tournament, not dropping a single series versus Method Black, making their way back up through some very hard teams in the lower bracket, and they don't want to get here. They don't want to just give up a free win to Cloud9. They've worked hard to get here. We're at 15% dampening, and Chanimals finally getting into the game, finally showing everyone what it is that he's got, and I must say, that is a very nice looking mount that he's riding. Is that invincible?
A very nice looking mount, yeah. Do you know if the gear is updated? Like what item was the gear?
It's 730 still, unfortunately. But I mean, that could be a huge difference moving forward, especially against two compositions like that, like this.
Oh yeah. It'll completely change the game. Not even just with these compositions, with every composition. So it'll be exciting when that gets updated. Yeah, but I mean, despite the game being, or the gear being the same, the game has changed. I mean, like we said, we never really saw Elemental Shamans before. They did get buffed. Lava Burst got a tremendous buff, 20% damage. And that's a big...
Asper just trinketed.
Are you kidding me?
He just trinketed. Oh my gosh.
You trinketed air!
Maybe
you trinketed air!
Maybe he trinketed on purpose to get them to come in. Mind games?
I kind of doubt it. Maybe.
Maybe, man. Maybe. I know.
Coming out from Businessman.
Is chat loving this series so far? I mean, look at it.
I'm sure they are.
You know, honestly, Cloud9 and Method Black in their communication programs are just probably so. They're just probably laughing so hard right now. They're like, no, we don't go yet. No, we don't go yet. 23% dampening, boys. Like, they're just waiting. They're waiting for it. They're just
the thing is, like, when money is on the line.
Yeah.
When money's on the line, there's no reason to go in a position where you feel like you're disadvantaged. I mean, unfortunately, I mean, dampening's already at 25% HP. If it gets any higher, like, they're not, like... This is one of the things that happens in deep dampening is, like, if you make one mistake, it's hard to recover from that. Like,
really
if your healer
is, yeah.
accidentally trinkets, like, it's all of a sudden becomes a nightmare for him to heal through. Whereas when it's not in dampening, you can sort of... it's a little bit more forgivable. You have a little bit more room to make up for when you make mistakes.
How deep into dampening are these guys actually going to go, I wonder, before they go hamsies? I mean, right now, it looks like Asper is taking a whole bunch of pressure. That Elemental Shaman damage actually looks pretty good, man.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the scoreboard at the end. I'm going to take a look at that. Asper getting dangerously low, and it looks like Cubsy actually getting beamed right away. Asper using his Celestial alignment, so I would think that Cubsy Businessman and Panda Kazi are just going to push back during the Celestial alignment. Once that fades, I think they'll be in a great position. Asper getting very low, though, down at 20% HP. Floria trying to heal him up, actually throwing out the Dispel, but these teams have waited so long into dampening. His heals are 30% less effective. Cubsy having a hard time healing himself up as well, or healing himself up using that Nature's Vigil. Both teams just have so much pressure going out. Businessman going down to around 50% HP. Floria doing a great job keeping those dots off. Channels using his second Demon Soul, wants to keep this pressure rolling. Cubsy trying to get some damage out, or some healing out, actually using his Tranquility with that Nature's Vigil, but it is going to fade. I think he actually got interrupted there by Asper pushing to stop that, and both teams are just going to be slowly rotting from this point forward.
Yeah, but I mean, these Warlocks are getting so much work done with these Demon Souls at 34% dampening. And Chanimals is now all out of them. Asper at 1% health here. Floria trying to get some of those Mastery heals off, but it still looks like it's hard for these guys. Goreki pushing in and getting bashed up into a full clone. But holy moly, Asper just nearly went down. And Cubsy at 40% mana, while Floria in the background at 90% mana. That could be a big difference too, as well, moving forward. But Asper just can't push up. He's just getting so much damage. Businessman getting locked out by that Solar Beam. He's going to catch an Iron Bark and should be okay, as well as the Nature Swiftness from Cubsy. But wow, the burst from that Elemental Shaman is very, very scary. Asper now being pushed back at 30% health here, and look at Floria just struggling to keep his team above and healthy. Cubsy in the background going for that drink, but is that the right move, as Businessman is just getting chunked down? Shamanistic Rage is forced out. Cubsy coming out, trying to get a little bit of heals off at this point, but we're at 40% dampening now, and it's starting to get scary, and the mana pools of both healers are starting to even out. Shadow Fear goes out into Chanimals and to Asper. 35% health on Asper. He's going to go ahead and Barkskin here. Floria in the background, he just dispelled something very, very quickly, but it does so much damage to make the decision to dispel. But Businessman dipping lower and lower. Asper pushing forward with his Barkskin, but it fades. He's going to go back in line of sight with Cubsy, and neither team want to really give up their positioning.
Yeah, Floria's Mastery, Shaman Mastery, is specifically good for healing dampening. When people are low, it increases your healing, so it's very, very powerful in dampening. You can kind of coast for a while. Businessman actually taking a lot of damage, could be in a lot of trouble here. The Root Beam coming out from Asper actually gets bashed up. Businessman, though, down to 10% HP, 5% HP. Cubsy able to get that Iron Bark as well as the NS out onto him. Now Asper, Chanimals, and Floria are pushed up quite deep. Looking to keep this momentum, ride this pressure. Chanimals, Demon Soul is going to fade there. Pendaski does have his Demon Soul if he needs it. I mean, I think once they stabilize, it's going to be very hard, though, for Cubsy to actually top off his team. He needs to actually get out that Demon Soul and put out the pressure. He needs to push Floria, Asper, and Chanimals back. Businessman still not topped off. Cubsy actually having a really hard time healing through this damage, down to 10% mana. He's not going to be able to get a drink. Asper, though, dipping dangerously low, throwing out the Cyclones, has that Barkskin up right now. Floria just going to spam those spells onto him, making sure that there's no dot pressure on him. Cubsy still at around 10% mana. Both teams going back and forth. Looks like Goreki is going to use that Demon Soul, but gets dropped down to 10% HP. This is the Celestial alignment coming out of Asper, and Businessman's going to drop. They're able to just wait and have Celestial alignment during dampening, and it's really hard to deal with that cooldown with such a reduced amount of healing. I mean, we got to 50% dampening in that matchup.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe they brought it to 50% dampening. I wonder, going into the next game, Method Black is now going to not have the composition advantage because Cloud9 is going to be able to choose what comp they want to play into whatever Method Black chooses. And if they play LSD2 again, do you think Cloud9 is going to play LSD1 into it?
I think so.
Wow.
I think these teams are pretty content with their choices, to be honest.
Whew.
It looks like, I don't know. I don't know. This is interesting. I mean, taking a look at the damage, Goreki did 10 million damage that game. He was playing the Warlock for Method Black. On the opposite side, Cloud9 had Chanimals who did roughly 9 million damage. So Goreki doing a little bit more damage in that matchup. Cubsy, this damage is kind of irrelevant as a Resto Druid. Businessman, though, doing 9 million damage on the Elemental Shaman, and Asper actually getting out 9 million damage as well. So both teams doing roughly equal damage, roughly equal CC as well. I think one of the biggest things in that matchup was Goreki got CC'd a considerable amount more than Chanimals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where he got CC'd for 40 seconds versus 15.
That is a considerable amount different, I'm going to be honest with you. But it's crazy to see the amount of pressure that Businessman was putting out there in the early game when they were just teeing off against each other. When we went into later dampening, it looked like Cubsy's mana was also becoming a problem. I'm really interested to see what it is that's going to be changing going into the next map here. And the next map is going to be chosen. It's going to be Tiger's Peak. So similar to Nagrand Arena, it's a fairly even map for both compositions for sure. But I'm still curious to see what compositions are going to be coming out of C9. I mean, LSD, I don't know about you, but it kind of felt to me like there were so many advantages that that Method Black had in that composition matchup. But it definitely can go either way, especially deep into dampening like that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just able to really capitalize on that Celestial Alignment coming up. I mean, they had the pressure. They pushed in. They took the game from their side of the pillar, for their side of the map to the other side of the map, and they just kind of rode that momentum as much as possible. And then when Celestial Alignment came up, they were able to just finish them up.
I'm not going to tell you guys what the compositions are. Can you see party chat?
Yeah, I can.
I'm gonna let them see it as soon as we queue up. But that's gonna be exciting. I can't wait to see what happens in that scenario. But as soon as we're ready, guys, we're gonna jump right back into the games. It should be very exciting. And just a reminder, everybody, this is the finals. Cloud9 versus Method Black. It's a best-of-5 series. Method Black currently being 1 game up against Cloud9. This is the very first GCD Pro League tournament there is. And it looks like both of these teams want to be crowned the victor. And there's more than just a prize pool on the line. There's also GCD points for the finals, which is going to happen later on very, very soon. It looks like the queue has bugs, so we're just going to wait just a few more seconds. In the meantime, I guess I can take the time to shout out some homies. We actually have been receiving so much support. It's unbelievable, really. Thank you guys so much for all the subscriptions and everything. It's been unbelievable, the amount of subscribers that have stuck around. We had like close to over 100 people subscribing to us throughout all of BlizzCon and opening week and everything. So like they've been subscribed to us through it all, even when we weren't hosting our own tournament. So shout out to you guys. It's really cool. Thank you guys so much. And
we all know you were off running some other tournaments for us to watch. Although you weren't doing GCD, we know you were behind the scenes making all the other WoW tournaments run, and it's the least we can do, buddy.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's so nice to feel the support and love of the WoW community, really. But so far, we have not dropped again. And this is the final, so hopefully we'll be able to get through this whole thing. But here we go. It's Tiger's Peak. I'm going to knock on wood just to make sure. And I'll see you guys in there in just a hot minute. Welcome everybody to Tiger's Peak. It's the finals of GPL number 1, Method Black versus Cloud9. As you can see, Cloud9 has opted to change their composition up to that infamous Subtlety Rogue RMD. Oh man, what do you think? Is an RMD going to do anything against LSD2?
I mean, you have to. I don't know, to be honest with you. Maybe the thing is, like, maybe they initially ran that that elemental shaman comp because they felt like it had an advantage against Asper running mage Moonkin Paladin, like I was saying. Now that they're running this LSD composition, maybe they feel like RMD actually has that advantage. So taking advantage of the format where you can sort of switch your composition when you know what your opponent's playing. Anyways, Rossi's going to open up on the Floria right away. Wealthy Man actually trinketing out of that Cyclone right away. Floria getting dangerously low, though, having to use his Trinket as well as his Spirit Link Totem. Now all of the members on Method Black are a little bit low. Both Asper and Channels trying to get out some counter pressure right now. The Demon Soul has been popped by Channels. Cubsy using his Nature's Vigil as well as Iron Bark on himself. They want to stay aggressive, though. Asper taking a lot of damage, gets topped off, catches a huge heal from Floria, and it looks like they're going to stabilize from that aggressive opener coming out of Cloud9.
Wow, Wealthy Sock just taking a whole bunch of pressure with those haunts connecting everything, but I really gotta say good job to Asper locking down Wealthy Sock on that opener completely, but still, regardless, so much damage. Full blind goes out onto Floria. Asper catching a whole bunch of pressure. Barkskin's going to be used. Wealthy Sock pushing in, trying to follow up the CC onto Floria, but Rossi's in the background is getting a whole bunch of damage. Evasion is going to be used here, maybe to prevent a bash or something from Asper. Asper dipping down to 50% health here. Deep Freeze goes out onto Floria. But can they get the follow-up CC on it? Yep, the Polymorph is going to land, but it's DR'd, and into a triple DR Polymorph, into a Frostjaw. Asper just kiting Rossi's as much as he can, but there's the Shadow Step. He's going to get the stun off on the Asper. It's going to be trinketed for now, but Asper's just kiting Rossi's around non-stop.
Asper's in a lot of trouble, actually. Rossi's going to have his Shadow Dance coming up in 20 seconds. Asper will have his Barskin, but I think that they'll be able to kill through it. I like the aggressive opener from Cloud9 onto Floria, able to force out his Trinket, and now they're capitalizing on the fact that Floria has no Trinket and trying to be as aggressive as they can on Asper, forcing him to play defensive. He did an excellent job there, actually, just kiting around while Floria was CC'd into Polymorph, Deep Freeze, Frostjaw. So good job for him for living. Does have his Barkskin up. Going to use that immediately on that kidney shot. Rossi's using his Shadow Dance as well. This could still be scary for Asper, though. DR cheap shot coming in. Floria not crowd control at the moment, though. Getting some heals out on Asper. Cubsy taking a little bit of damage as well, but he is going to be fine. Floria actually having his Trinket coming up in around 7 seconds, as well as a Spirit Link Totem. So the next setup, he will have those cooldowns to rotate through.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about defensive cooldowns here. I mean, Roasties and Wealthy Man are taking a whole bunch of pressure, but at the same time, looking at defense cooldowns, they have block, they have cloaks available to them, so they're probably not too scared just yet. They're going to pull back and wait to get that setup once again, but Cubsy is going to have his Trinket up in 15 more seconds. And Floria is still with that Trinket link available to him. I really don't know. It could go either way still at this point. But I love to see Method Black constantly getting that pressure out. Rossi's pushing in, getting that cheap shot up onto Asper. Death from above coming out. Asper taking a whole bunch of damage. He's just going to blink back and line of sight with his Shaman as well. Rossi's pushing up. He's going to get rooted up by Asper, though. Full blind on the Floria, and Asper at 50% health here. Floria does have that Trinket available to him, but he's not even in range for the link just yet. Asper going into bear form, getting closer to Floria. He's going to stay right on top of him to maybe catch a Spirit Link coming in. The DR Bash comes out as well. Full Polymorph onto Floria once again, and Asper's just sitting on top of Cubsy, but here we go. Floria can't get that link out because Asper's so far away. The bomb comes out. He's going to go ahead and blink back towards his team, and it looks like he's going to catch a Spirit Link after all.
Yeah, because Floria or Asper kited so far away, though, he ended up having to use that Barkskin as well. So now the only real defensive cooldowns Method Black has to work with is the Trinket coming out from Asper. Channel is going to have to do a good job stopping some incoming crowd control. He still has his Trinket available if he needs it. Spellbox is available as well. If you look, though, Celestial Lineman as well as a Demon Soul is available for Method Black, so they do have those offensive cooldowns to sort of turn around the pressure. They need to get some momentum rolling on their side. Right now, Cloud9 is fully dotted up, so this might be a time where Shanimals actually wants to use his Demon Soul before they're just forced in another defensive position.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be optimal. Chanimal's going to go ahead and port back and get in front of Roasties. Roasties desperately trying to get pushed up. Looking at Asper's position, he doesn't want Roasties to be able to push up for free. Gouge goes out onto Floria, and this is the setup onto him. Orb going out onto Floria as well as he's in that kidney shot. Wealthy Man getting locked out of Frost from Asper's beam. Floria caught into another cheap shot. He has no Trinket left, but he does have that Spirit Link, but can he get it off? The Garrote coming out on top of that as well. He's going to gate away, but he's all alone, and the Shadow Step comes out, and down goes Floria. Method Black losing to Cloud9 in game number 2 as Cloud9 makes the transition to their bread and butter. It's the Subtlety Rogue RMD.
They're bread and butter. You played that game very well. Opening up on the Floria, which is, like I said, I like that a lot. They're able to keep a lot of pressure on Asper and force him to play defensive while Floria had no trinket. He had to set all of those CC chains. And then finally, once they're able to force out a second trinket, they were able to just capitalize with Shadow Dance as well as some offensive cooldowns coming out from Wealthy Man. You just couldn't survive the pressure, the damage coming out from Cloud9.
Yeah, we have a tied-up series here in the finals of GPL number 1, and it looks like that RMD is going to tap out LSD 2.0, but now it's Method Black's turn to have the composition advantage. And what do you expect to see coming out? I mean, if we got another RMD locked in, are we going to see a Warlock Boomkin, or are we going to see a Mage Boomkin?
Well, you have to sort of, you have to think so far what's gone on. I mean, I assume that if Method Black decides to run Moonkin Mage Paladin, that Cloud9 is just going to choose, or I guess right now it's Method Black's choice. So I assume with what we've seen so far, if Cloud9 decides to keep playing the RMD, we're going to see Method Black switch it up and play that Mage Moonkin Paladin, because it looks like those are the matchups that Cloud9 has been trying to avoid so far. Looks like they're very favorable in this RMD against the LSD2, but it might be scary for them to actually play the Mage Moonkin Paladin.
It's crazy. It's like
it's kind of like a coin flip back. Both teams have like two compositions they can run, one counters the other. So winning that first game, I think, is going to be very important. I think we might end up seeing. Is this 5 game?
It's a best of 5. Yeah. So who won the first game? It was Cloud9. Or no, it was Method Black. Method Black actually won the first game with the LSD2 versus the LSD1. And going into game number 2, RMD beat out LSD2 for Method Black. And now Cloud9 has to lock in their composition before Method Black locks in their own. And I'm curious to see if this composition back and forth is how Method Black is going to win, because they did win the first map. So technically they should be able to have more composition advantages.
Advantages, yeah. I mean, that first game is always very important, because that means if it does go to a final game, you're advantage there. So if it's 2-2, you have the advantage going into the last game.
Yep. So, I mean, like, with that being said, can Cloud9 come back and beat Method Black on their map and composition advantage? We're going to find out very soon. All right, Cloud9 is actually going to lock in Holy Paladin God Comp, a composition we haven't seen from them yet in the finals against these guys. Oh, how do you think Holy Paladin God Comp is going to fare up against, apparently, Moonkin Mage Holy Paladin?
I think it's actually a decent matchup. I think both. I don't think any one composition, from at least when I played it, doesn't seem like any one composition has an incredible advantage. I think it can be very back and forth. One of the cool things about Holy Pally God Comp against Mage Moonkin Paladin is really the Moonkin and the Mage for Method, as well as the Shadow Priest and the Mage for Cloud9. All 4 of them are viable targets, so there's not just one target that's going to be trained all game. Well, there might be, but they definitely have the option and the opportunity to attack multiple targets, which makes it kind of exciting. No one is really safe, and you can really capitalize on people overusing cooldowns.
Yeah, something to note, and I forgot that you weren't here for that, is that we actually got to see God Comp versus Mage Moonkin Paladin, Tempo Storm versus Method Black. They had to face Tempo Storm in the lower bracket to get to where they are right now, and it was an insanely close series. It was 3-2, and it was unbelievable, and I'm expecting the same level of play out of Cloud9 as well, so we're in for a series for sure if both of these guys are opting to do God Comp versus Mage Moonkin Paladin. And I can't wait to see it. No one is safe. Not a single player on that team is safe to the setups of both of these compositions. And as soon as these teams are ready, guys, we're going to jump right into the game. The queue has bugs, so we're just going to give it a few seconds and then queue right back into it. But the map choice is going to be Tolvaron Arena. So big open map with 2 setup compositions. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be like the polar opposite of what we saw in game number 1, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't actually get a chance to see... like you said, the series that happened earlier on. Yeah. But one thing I do know about this matchup is when Asper is targeted, he likes to run.
Yeah.
So he likes to just run across the entire side of the map. And I think one thing that's going to be very important for Cloud9 to do is if they are targeting Asper and he does get away, they just need to switch their focus and get pressure on the Mage and make sure they have both targets scared and they're not over chasing Asper, who's very, very mobile.
Yeah, I think that's solid advice, really. But here we go, guys. We're going to jump into Tolvaron Arena. I'm going to play the map intro for you guys, and we'll see you in the games. All right, here we go. We're in Tolvaron Arena. It's Method Black versus Cloud9 in the finals. It's currently tied 1-1. Majid Asper and Floria running that Mage Boomkin Holy Paladin versus the God Comp, the Shatter play with the Holy Paladin of Cloud9. Oh man,
this is kind of cool. I mean, both teams have run different setups. I think we've seen 5 different setups in these games so far.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Really cool. I really like the versatility coming out from both of these teams. Polymorph goes out onto Wealthy Sock. The silence on a Majidin. Is he running only... Oh, what the heck just happened to Cubsy?
Yeah, I think he left.
He left.
It's like, oh man, I didn't see that. That was crazy.
Wait.
But I think he just left the game.
Why did he leave the game?
I don't know. Maybe something was wrong. I don't think we've seen him play. Well, I haven't seen him play as Paladin yet in this tournament, so maybe his gear was wrong. He had the wrong gear on.
Oh, he might have had the wrong gear on. That's really unfortunate. And that can.
They do have 45 seconds, don't they?
Yeah. No, as soon as the gates open now.
Oh wow.
So, but at the same time, we do have the power to make administrative decisions on that, and like special circumstances like that. Like that is a very specific circumstances. So let me
you know what? He had 58,000 HP and he just got one shot.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. All right, so we're probably just gonna have to replay that map, but yeah. So let me just reiterate to you guys what exactly. Wait, so it's 1-1 still. Just reiterate to you guys what exactly happened. It looks like Cubsy actually just had the wrong gear on, so he just literally just got one shot. So obviously when it comes to like disconnects and stuff like that, it's really hard for us to be able to say, oh wait, no, no, we have to do a replay for that, because there's just so many shenanigans, so we just straight up say no. But when it comes to like something like this is a very special circumstance. We're probably just going to have a replay, but we're going to be talking to our head admin to see what's going to be going on here. So we're going to be right back. Alright guys, I did talk to the head admin, Clutter, and it does state in our rules that there are no replays as soon as those gates open whatsoever, and we have to stick to our rules, guys. Sorry, we can't make any exceptions at all. So unfortunately that misplay from Cubsy of not putting on his tournament gear or leaving before the gates open is gonna cost Cloud9 actually a game here. And so now, because of that huge misplay, Method Black is up 1 game in this best of 5 series.
Yeah, and now Cloud9 is actually 1 game away from being eliminated from the tournament. Fortunately for them, this is going to be their composition pick as well as their map pick, so
yeah,
they have the opportunity to tie it up 2-2, of course.
It's nice to, if you're going to have like a huge mistake like that, it's nice to at least do it when you didn't, or when you had, or you didn't have composition pick at least. Because not having a composition pick twice in a row, or having a composition pick twice in a row might be kind of rough, because then it wouldn't sync with that back and forth.
Yeah.
So there are no replays at all, guys. As soon as those gates open, it's fair game. We have nothing to do with that, and it's players' responsibilities to make sure that they have tournament gear on. But it's a hard decision to make, but unfortunately we got to stick to our rules. We really do. Had to stick to our rules the whole tournament until now, and we're sticking to them right now too. Sorry about that, guys.
It's one of those things about tournaments, like making sure you have the right gears, you have the right mat. Like back in like LAN tournaments, that was a big issue. People would not set up their macros correctly, or they'd have the wrong gear on, or they'd forget some bindings, stuff like that. It actually made a huge deal.
I'm sorry, guys. It's a hard decision to make. It really is. But I mean, like, the gamer inside of me is like, no, just a replay. But at the same time, like, trying to keep it fair, and the admin inside of me is like, gotta follow those rules to the T, so the players have something to rely on, you know. But
well, the thing is, like, it has to be fair to the other team as well. I mean, the other team didn't do anything wrong.
Right. Yeah.
This is a very competitive, very competitive tournament. I mean, money is on the line, so you don't want to use those rules to your advantage as much as possible. So,
shout out goes to Cloud9. I believe they are taking it quite well, and we're gonna go right on to Dalaran Sewers. We're waiting on composition choices from these teams, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what is it that these guys are going to be playing. I mean, we really didn't get to see God Comp versus Mage Boomkin Holy Paladin because of that unfortunate gear situation. So I'm interested to see what exactly we are going to be playing. I'm just reading this chat, man. This is intense.
Yeah, me too. It actually cracks me up so bad. It's unbelievable.
Why Method Black? No, well, we also went back on allowing the other team to ask for replays and stuff like that too, because if a team doesn't want to give a replay out, it makes them look bad too, you know? Like, we don't want to make teams look like villains as well. It's and that, not only that, that's going against our rules as well. Our rules are in, we have to stick to it. What add-on is like plate buffs? Plate buffs. I have proof that League of Legends is not doing that. Nope, that is not true.
Wow, thanks JoJo91. What a nice guy.
What did JoJo do? Impressive critical thinking on D-Machine and Venruki's part. And Clutter. It was actually Clutter's main decision. It's difficult to avoid being realistic and too absolute, but I think they considered all the points and views and made a valid decision. Thank you, dude. That's really nice of you. Shout out goes to Clutter. Thank you so much for your administrative skills. But it was like a council almost. But here we go. We're going to jump into Dalaran Sewers, everybody.
All right.
Alright guys, we have entered the arena. It's Cloud9 versus Method Black. All players look like they have over 400,000 health pool, and that's a good thing to see. That is a good thing to see. But it's Mage Moonkin Holy Paladin versus God Comp from Cloud9, and I have to say, I am a fan of this matchup. It's so back and forth and so great to watch. And here we go. The gates have opened. Mage Moonkin Holy Paladin for Method Black. They're going to be pushing in here, and it looks like both of these teams are going to be sitting on the same boxes. And Floria's instantly running away from Goraki. He does not want to get feared. Wealthy Sock is going to get beamed up there right away. Asper catching the Horrify, though, taking a whole bunch of damage as Flores in that full polymorph. Hodge on the Asper is going to force the Trinket out from him, and he has a Celestial Alignment, turning it around onto Goreki, forcing Cubsy's bubble.
Yeah, Flory actually not having to use any defensive cooldowns there. Asper saving his Bark Skin as well, so only really having to use that Trinket. Flory going to top off Asper, immediately using that Avenging Wrath execution sentence. Cubsy, though, having to use the bubble, so Cloud9 already not getting the better end of that exchange. Although Asper did use his big 3-minute Celestial Alignment to force those cooldowns coming out from Cloud9. Now Goreki is caught into the full bash. Cubsy able to just get heals onto him. He's not CC'd at the moment. Magen is the target of choice at the moment. He's disarmed. Devouring Plague, though, coming out from Goreki onto Magen, taking a lot of damage. Sable the Light proccing onto him. Floria able to get that shield onto him, which procced, and now he's going to catch some heals right away.
Yeah.
The silence actually going out onto Majidin as well. Floria still has his bubble as well as his trinket if he needs it. Majidin still has both ice block as well as cold snap available if he needs it as well. Looks like he's going to have to use his first ice block now that Goreki and Melty Sock have got some CC onto Floria.
Yep, it looks like it. One ice block down, one more to go. Now Hodge on the Asper as Floria is still in all of this CC, and it looks like Asper is still the kill target for now, taking a whole bunch of damage from Goreki Shadow Priest. Holy moly, Asper could be in a little bit of trouble. Barkskin is up. He's going to hop into bear form. Saber the Light's going to proc as well as the execution sentence coming out from Floria, keeping Asper okay. Goreki actually getting bopped out of that DR bash from Cubsy. Great play from him, keeping him in play, but at the same time, Goreki's still getting chunked through it. Full fear coming out onto Floria and Majidin. It's just Asper at the moment, and Goreki should be able to stabilize because of that cross CC as Cubsy finally leaves CC himself.
Asper actually able to just get away. He noticed Floria's in CZ, got away, and I like what they're doing. They're immediately going on to Major and keeping up the pressure on him. And now they've actually forced out his second ice block. This is the plays I was talking about. Force Asper into a defensive position. They can keep easily getting CC onto Floria and then get those ice blocks out of Major. And now Major has no ice blocks. Floria still has Trinket and Bubble if he needs it. His Avenging Wrath is available as well. Goreki finally caught into that full Hodge. Cubsy into a full Polymorph. Dispersion is going to be coming out from Goreki, deciding to use that Dispersion instead of Cubsy using his Trinket.
Yeah, Goreki dipping down lower and lower. Cubsy currently not in any CC, still has that trinket available to him, but there's the Polymorph on the Floria, and Asper's actually in stealth. He's like, no, I'm not taking any damage from you. No. Full Polymorph, or I'm sorry, full Cyclone goes out onto Wealthy Sock. He's going to get out of that with his trinket. But man, it's definitely back and forth so far, but Majidin still doesn't have an ice block for another minute. He's super vulnerable, but Florio with every single defensive cooldown as an Arsenal, Majidin is completely reliant on his healer to keep him alive and moving forward here. Majidin is still out in the middle of the map, and I really don't know. There's the full Polymorph onto Florio. The Horrify goes out onto Majidin. Majidin dipping lower. Asper also in the Hodge. The cross CC is bananas. Execution set and wings coming out from Floria, topping off Majidin with that Saved by the Light as well. And all that was used was Trinket and Wings execution sentence. I think that was a really good trade for that setup.
Yeah, absolutely. Asper actually gets his Celestial Alignment off cooldown, so he might be able to use that and capitalize on some damage onto Goreki. Cubsy actually having to use his bubble there. Goreki was in a little bit of trouble, so Cubsy throwing out that bubble. Still has his Avenging Wrath as well as his Trinket up. No execution sentence, but he will be able to get a lot of healing out of that Trinket Avenging Wrath when he needs it. Goreki has his Dispersion as well coming up in around 40 seconds. Asper and Majidin might be able to capitalize on that. For sure get Cubsy's Trinket if they can get another good CC onto Cubsy, another good setup onto Goreki, using that Celestial Alignment. For sure, Cubsy will have to Trinket.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, looking at the mana pools of both these Holy Paladins, 63% on Cubsy and 69% on Floria, it seems to be an even game so far, but if you look at defensive cooldowns, Cubsy has a Trinket, Floria has his bubble. Celestial Alignment still up for Asper. He's ready to push in. Wow, the offensive block coming out from Wealthy Sock. Hodge on Asper. Majidin on the back foot. He has that block just available to him. Cold Snap coming back right this second. And there's the bubble from Floria, though. They don't want to trade the block and the bubble at the same time, but they force Disperse on the other hand with that Celestial Alignment coming out from Asper. But Disperse is going to fade now. But the triple fear coming out from Goreki is going to stop a lot of the momentum. Asper still taking a whole bunch of damage. Celestial Alignment going to fade for now. And it looks like Method Black is looking to get something set up with that bash. Oh, the bash, but it gets silenced up on the Cyclone from Goreki, and now Asper is forced to blink back to his line of sight. Floria is still in a full Polymorph as Asper's at 49% healthier. He still has that Bark Skin available to him. Devouring Plague, full Hodge lands on Asper. Floria still has no out for 10 more seconds. Is Asper going to go down here? The Frost Jaw lands on a Floria. The Fear out of it as well. The Fear on the Aura Mastery instantly. Asper sitting in bear form, just desperately trying to stay alive as much as possible, but the execution sentence wings comes out from Floria in the nick of time, it would seem.
Yeah, Asper able to just displace, get across the map. Goreki having his Trinket coming up in around a minute. That's the only real defensive cooldown Cloud9 has at the moment, although getting great pressure out on Asper. Still a little bit scared, only really having that Trinket. Still no Disperse for another minute.
Oh.
Bubble's going to be up in around 30 seconds, but Wealthy Sock getting bursted down really hard, having to use that Ice Block right away. Actually, he came out of that early, I believe.
Yeah,
actually got a full invisibility off. So that was actually a little bit scary for Wealthy Man coming out of that ice block. A little bit early, but looks like it's going to be fine.
Yeah, Saved by the Light still procced on Wealthy Man from that crazy burst that came out of nowhere. He actually had an ice block out of line of sight, and Wealthy Man doesn't have another block for another minute. He could be a bit vulnerable here. Dipping down to 50% health here. Deep freeze onto Cubsy. Cubsy has that bubble available to him. Saved by the Light onto Wealthy Man. The beam coming out onto Cubsy, but Cubsy's just going to go ahead and use that Aura Mastery execution sentence with the wings as well, topping off Wealthy Sock. Now Asper super pushed in, is in a lot of trouble. Hodge out of the Horrify. Saved by the Light procking. GCD Flurry has to run in, but doesn't even matter. Execution sentence coming up as long as the Hand of Sacrifice and Barkskin up as well, but Asper's still so low. Floria can't catch a break, going into a DR silence, and Asper's just going to line of sight here. That was so close. Holy moly.
That was incredibly close, but now Major in a lot of trouble, down to 30% HP. Saved by the Light procking on him as well. Floria having to play catch-up here to top off Major as well as Asper. His Avenging Wrath is going to be coming up from 3 seconds, so he will have that cooldown available and ready to go, as well as his Bubble and Trinket, so a lot of cooldowns coming out from Floria. Avenging Wrath now going to finally be used on top of Asper's Nature's Vigil, so it looks like Asper is going to be fine for the moment. Wealthy Man still not having an ice block for around 20 seconds. Cubsy does have his bubble as well as block if he needs it. Going to throw out that sacrifice as well to prevent some of that incoming damage. Majin taking a little bit of damage. Very back and forth with both teams, but both Floria and Cubsy have a lot of defensive cooldowns that can rotate through at the moment.
Yeah, but look at the mana pools on these Holy Paladins. We're at 14% dampening, and that could become a huge factor moving forward. Goreki just getting chunked down as well as Wealthy Sock, and both these teams are just sitting by their boxes, waiting for their DRs, waiting for their setup. Florio snagging a drink with that Mage Food, coming back up to 50% mana. Cubsy's not going to be able to do that as Goreki's pushing in. The Hodge goes out on the Goreki. Celestial Alignment into the Bash. Horrify now into Asper. It almost looks like a defensive Horrify, if anything. Goreki does have that Dispersion. He has to press it, but the overlap with the bubble could be a big deal coming out from Cubsy. Now Wealthy Sock taking a whole bunch of pressure, gonna get cloned up by Asper on his Icy Veins as well. Cubsy's wings though is gonna keep Goreki alive. Wealthy Sock getting out of that offensive cyclone. He's gonna catch a big heal as well, and Cloud9 has stabilized for now, but for how much longer? We're at 18% dampening.
Yeah, this is really, really scary. Only having Cubsy's Trinket, but he's not going to have Avenging Wrath. So he has his Trinket ready to go, but doesn't have Avenging Wrath, doesn't have Bubble, doesn't have really anything he can get healing out with. Luckily for them, though, Method Black is on the defensive. Major pulling back behind the pillar, getting out that Water Elemental, which has been targeted down over and over by Goreki and Wealthy Man in this game. Asper taking a little bit of damage, just have that visual up. They're looking to go, though. This is the full Cyclone onto Wealthy Man. They want to push in, but Major still taking a lot of damage. Floria deciding to use his Avenging Wrath. He wants to keep his team topped off because this is go time. The full defreeze onto Cubsy, the Hodge onto Goreki, the full Cyclone, though, going on to Cubsy as well. Goreki's in a lot of trouble. Cubsy only having his Trinket to get out some healing. He has Execution Sentence, no Avenging Wrath, though, so it's not going to do too much at 23% dampening. At the same time, though, Major actually forced into that Ice Block, the Full Fear, as well as a Frost Jaw going out onto Floria. Now Asper is taking a little bit of damage. Floria isn't going to have that Avenging Wrath up. He still has Trinket and Bubble if he needs it, but Major getting dangerously low. The Bubble coming out, perhaps a little too late. Saved by the Light procking onto Major, who has to play very, very defensive. Floria spamming out those heals, but despite spamming out those heals, dampening is so high, Paladin healing so low without that Avenging Wrath. He isn't able to top off his team, and now Major still in a lot of trouble. Cloud9 wants to draw blood onto Major right here so they can tie up the series 2-2, but Major and Asper and Floria are going to pull back, play defensive, and make sure they don't go down in this situation.
Look at Cubsy's mana, man. He's at 13% mana. That is a scary situation to be in when you're at 27% dampening. Floria, though, through that whole thing, has almost evened up with him at this point because of how much he had to heal through all that damage. Major line of sighting for now with Asper, and these guys have to, both teams have to be so careful. It can end at any moment here. Major has a block, Wealthy Man has one block, and that is it. Asper's Barkskin is coming back off cooldown, and Floria's only out is that Trinket, but he does have that Wings Up available to him as well as Cubsy too. These defensive cooldowns are looking so even for both of these teams. It could go either way. 30% dampening on Dalaran Sewers. There's nowhere to hide. Looks
Floria just got so much mana, though. He just got to 50% mana, but I don't know if it's going to matter. The Avenging Wrath, though, coming out. Asper taking a lot of damage as well as Major, and Floria should be able to top off with the Avenging Wrath. Cubsy not able to get a drink in that mix. Major does have an Ice Block available if he needs it, while Floria is caught into that defreeze. Doesn't look like he's going to use it. Play very, very conservatively. Floria is spamming out those casts, but Cubsy's mana is dangerously low. Goreki actually caught into a stun, down to 30% HP, trying to get that MD out onto Cubsy, but doesn't look like they're going to let him. Avenging Wrath is up for Cubsy right now, so his healing is going to be empowered as well, but it doesn't really do too much at 35% dampening. Both teams just doing so much damage to each other. Having to pull back to the pillar is Method Black. as we're trying to get out as much crowd control as we can, as well as Majordan, but just full retreat at the moment. Floria has to get out those casts over and over and over onto his team. This is the opportunity for Cubsy to go for a drink, but if they can stop it, he's almost a dead
He's almost dead. That being said, we have Block and Disperse and Bubble for their entire team available to him, and Asper Celestial Alignment is up and ready to go, which is a scary offensive cooldown to say the very least. Floria, though, he is taking a bit of pressure as well, dipping down to 68% health here. Majordan getting silenced up as he pushes forward. That Cascade is just doing work, though. Look at Goreki dipping down. That was not even the Celestial Alignment, forcing Goreki to use that Disperse. He's cloned up low. Wealthy Sock on the back foot, though, is taking a bunch of damage. Now Celestial Alignment's being popped, and Wealthy Man's in a little bit of trouble. He has that block available to him, but he's got to make sure to press it. Asper now in the back foot as well, forcing Florida to use that bubble to keep him offensive, but Goreki so vulnerable. Without a Disperse, without a trinket on Cubsy, he could surely go down. Majordan gonna go ahead and block that fear as he is at low health. Floria getting caught in a whole bunch of CC. The Frost Shot does end up landing as well. Wings coming out for
Goreki, though,
Floria.
dangerously low, down to 15% HP. I think this is going to be at the Hodge on the Goreki. Cubsy popping that Avenging Wrath. It's not going to be enough. Method Black is going to take this 3-1. And I mean, Cubsy had to go for a drink there, but going for that drink ultimately costs Goreki's Dispersion as well as Wealthy Man's Ice Block. So a lot of defensive cooldowns being forced by Method Black. And